so welcome to the next episode of the Straight Up Eagan Podcast. Today, I'm sitting here with Katherine from gracefilledtable. Now, you kind of work out of your home, online, people's places, out of Farmington.
Yes.
So it's not technically Eagan, but I figured by proxy, since we're kind of collaborating on a thing, we'll call you an Eagan business.
Sure.
But
South Metro.
Yeah, exactly. I know we've been trying to get this on the books for a little while. Stuff keeps coming up, life, I suppose. So I'm glad we can kind of get it locked in and get you over here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Before we start, I'm not sure if you've listened to other episodes or not, but I always try and start with like your origin story. I know we just kind of got into it before we started recording, but kind of talk about where you grew up, what got you, into the business, your family, education, all that stuff.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Katherine. I mostly grew up in northern Minnesota, came to college in the Twin Cities and fell in love with the big city, moved to Iowa after college for 5 years, and then we moved back to Minnesota. My family is here. My husband's from Iowa, Quad Cities, so on the very east side of the state. I climbed a corporate ladder for a long time.
It's funny because I've talked to many people that they always start out corporate for a while and then get burnt out, bored, get the entrepreneurial spirit, and start their own business. So I'm excited to hear where it led you to.
So I did that after college. I had great jobs. I had awesome jobs. Worked in accounting and finance and furthered my education some more. Got my MBA at the University of Iowa. And continued doing that until we had kids. And I traveled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so
traveled
it just...
this for work?
For work.
Okay.
Yep. And it wasn't... we were at a crossroads, I think.
Sure.
Just in that time to start a family and me being gone all the time.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of tough to do. And so we really were just... We looked at some part-time options. And so at that point, we just kind of made the decision and kind of took a leap of faith that I would stay home. And so I did that full time for quite a while. We've got 4 kids. Our oldest is currently 14. Our youngest is 8.
Okay.
So a few years ago, it was time. It was time to start doing something a little more right. And all the parents know, as your kids start getting older and they're less physically, demanding of your time.
They're not as needy.
Yeah, you get a little space, a little mental space, a little
more free time.
Yeah, so it was just time. So kind of during the pandemic, I did some online stuff with Pampered Chef, and it was awesome for that time. But I think kind of as we came out of that time, and just talking to my customers, it was just not enough. To meet what my customers were really saying.
With the Pampered Chef stuff, is that kind of how you started? You just got started selling Pampered Chef products, or?
Yep.
Okay.
And it was all online at that time, primarily. So it was something I could do at home and continue to manage everything else. It was really great money-wise during, that time. But I think, as I started doing more things in person with people, I just continued to hear from people a different set of needs than what I was currently thinking I was serving. And so that's, at that point, was really kind of where, gracefilledtable came from. It was a little bit of a diversion from that primary direct sales into just more of a model of teaching and coming alongside of people to, I continued to get asked, like, can you teach me how to cook? Can you show me how to do this? Will you just cook for me? Like, will you cater these events? Like, and for a while I'd say no. And then, any small business owner, you get to a point, it's like, why am I saying no to all the opportunities?
Right.
Like,
if there's that much ask for it.
Right. And so thankfully people kept asking. And so it was just kind of I need to stop saying no to all of those things and really pivot my business in a way that serves people where they're at and what they need. And so this is really, I do a lot of recipe writing, menu writing. I think, the biggest need I hear from people, a lot of my customers are, kind of like life stage where they've got kids and activities, and it's just that ability to get healthy food on the table is not as easy as people would like it to be.
Especially when you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, you either don't have time or you're working or you're not home. Yep. And I think, sports is a lot different than when we were kids.
Yep.
In a lot of great ways, but it's also a lot less convenient than it used to be. Like, you just stayed after school, like you got picked up at a certain time. It's not like that anymore.
No,
you have to pick kids up and drop them in different cities or, really all over the place. And so I think, that constant need of what I was hearing from so many families was just, I can't get good food on the table. Like, I'm not home. I don't have a plan. And so it's just, well, I can help with that.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of came from that, of helping people to just take a lot of the guesswork out of doing some prep and then pairing it with some tools that help them to do that cooking when they're maybe not at home.
So even though they have these tools from Peppered Chef,
Yep.
which are great, they can't use them because they're not sure how.
Yep.
Right? Or what's the easiest way, most efficient way. And that's where you kind of pivoted and started giving them a plan. Here's a recipe for the week. Here's how you prep it. Here's how you use these tools, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. I always tell people I'm the last person that will sell you something you don't need. Like, it doesn't make any sense for you to buy more things that don't help you fix the problem. And that's just getting food on the table, or, we're doing a lot of drive-through and I don't want to be doing that. Like, I know there's better. And obviously, like, as parents, like, we know there's a time and a place for that. But I think when it becomes the norm, and that's different than what people really want for their kids and for their family, it's just, it's time to partner on some things and find an easier way to do that. And so, I think it really was just a period of pivoting and just really starting to listen to what my customers were saying. I asked for a lot of feedback on purpose, and part of that's just, as a small business owner, it allows you to be way more efficient at where you're putting your time. You're not just trying things or seeing how it works. It's not always what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear, and allows you to focus your efforts much more efficiently in the areas where people are actually wanting help and services and things like that.
Yeah. So now you mentioned catering, you mentioned online, so you work in a few different areas. With your online stuff, is it a group of people? Do you work with people one-on-one? How do you facilitate that?
So it works, a little bit differently. I've got a group. I kind of have like a VIP group of, customers. And then I've also got a secondary group of people that are just really, really interested in like meal prep and meal planning, where they want new menus or recipes, or here's 8 different ways to use this type of chicken, so I can cook it once and freeze it again or whatever. And so that group really focuses more on that. I do a lot of cooking demos just in my kitchen, record those, and then they get shared. People they learn in all different ways. And I always laugh when I have a customer tell me that every time I make that recipe, I watch your video and I'm wondering why, but that's how they learn. They want to do it along with, and they want to learn. So, just having those videos in a place that they can access them when they need them. So a lot of the menus that I write are, kind of in that, I'll say kind of a 5 to 8 recipes, and they're intended to be reused, but they also would have, that video support of, I'm not really sure what you mean by this. They can look at it and see. And
so more resources than just what's on the sheet.
For sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you find with the meals, you mentioned people wanting healthier meals. Do you have sort of a nutritional philosophy like you kind of steer people towards, or is it more just kind of eat the best you can, eat the healthiest you can?
I don't know that I have like a published philosophy. At our house, we eat a lot of, we try to eat as much fresh as we can. If our budget allowed us to buy 100% organic, we probably would do it. But,
Not these days.
Food's crazy expensive. We do the best we can. And so, even a lot of my online content is just, when you can't afford to buy those things, what are ways you can clean produce to make it better for you, where it fits with your budget, but you're still kind of stripping produce of extra things it doesn't necessarily need. And so the recipes are really a lot of a reflection of like our personal kitchen, where we do proteins, and then we just kind of prep a lot of that ahead of time and pair it with just as much fresh as we can. Lots of fruits and vegetables. Our kids are super active, and I know they need way more caloric intake than I do personally, but we do eat a pretty wide variety of stuff, and try to source things and support local farmers and places that we can, as much as possible. But I think it's just letting go of that perfectionism of, I have to, if I'm going to feed my family healthy, it has to look like this. And it's like, well, in a perfect world, it could look like that, but like we have 85 things that we're doing. And, so there are obviously some flexibility built into there, but I think most of it is really just being prepared, having lots of fresh options available for children when they want snacks. It's just making it easy for them. They naturally gravitate towards whatever's easy to grab.
So you kind of preach like washing, cutting vegetables and fruits right away and putting them in a container.
So we just try to do a lot of that and involve everybody in that process and have a lot of those things ready to grab. So when they want to grab things, there's more options than just bags of things. And don't get me wrong, they love those things.
Quick things are not always the best things. Usually not.
So it's just changing. So I think, that philosophy, I do a lot of, kind of cooking, and then, where the main is able to be, changed. I don't necessarily need to eat fajitas all on shelves, but the kids can do that, but it's like kind of taking a main meal that can be flexible for every person.
So if people are doing like maybe a low carb diet, they can just
very easily do that.
The shells out or the noodles out of something or whatever. So,
but then it's not, you're not cooking multiple meals then for your family.
That's the biggest thing I say too. Like people come to me and they're like looking to lose weight. Obviously, the first thing you want to do is start with your diet, right? It's like, well, what should I eat? Like, what does your family like? Because you don't want to be making a meal for yourself. A meal for, if your kids are picky, you're probably gonna make them a separate meal. That's like 3 meals in one night. So figure out what works best for the whole family, and then for you, like pick the pieces out that you don't necessarily, that you're trying to avoid for whatever reason to decrease your calories or whatever. Just keep it simple.
That's a lot of how we eat at our house. It's just kids need more of certain things than I do, and that's fine. We offer those things that are healthy for them. We always tell them, you can eat as many fruits and vegetables as you want. They're all, between the 4 of them, they're all over that spectrum of how many they want to eat. But, that's also every family, I think. So, yes, that's good. I think involving our kids in our kitchen has been, just kind of really a big helpful step for our kids in learning when I am making those choices for myself, right? Like, what are the choices you're making when mom or dad aren't there telling you what to do? That's really, long-term sustainability for our kids, and even just knowing, there's time and there's place. And, I met a kid that doesn't love junk food, but them knowing, right, of, it needs to be balanced.
When I grew up, I had no concept of what, good... I knew candy bars weren't great, but Cheez-Its, I thought those were okay. But I had no concept of what good nutrition was. So trying to instill that in my kids now, even though they're still going to pick Cheez-Its over probably strawberries, at least they know that what the better choice is, and then they can make their decision.
They're starting to learn. It's right, when you're 40, I don't want you to have to deal with this. You should know at least the foundations. And we have a lot of extra kids in our home, a lot neighborhood kids, and because I cook for other people, they get to be my taste testers, which is always kind of fun. You have permission to tell me exactly what you think about this, but they get to try some new things. I'm like, now you can go home and tell your mom you do like Brussels sprouts.
And if the kid likes it, that's probably a good sign everyone's going to like it. For sure. For sure. But so you're doing all this stuff now. When you say catering, what do you do for that part? So
it really is
Is that
kind
new?
of it's new.
Or you kind of been doing that for a while?
It's kind of been going on for a while.
Okay.
It really, I like to work with people more one-on-one. It really is everybody's events are different, whether it's a shower or, fundraiser, or if it's more appetizer type things, charcuterie is a big trendy thing right now. Some people love it, other people hate it, right? But it's
it's everywhere.
It is. But there's a lot of people can we just have some meat sandwiches?
Yeah.
You sure can. So just working with people, I really love that opportunity to partner with smaller businesses. I've helped some businesses with their grand openings and just helping them to just on more of a collaborative, partnership opportunity.
So are you coming up with the menu then? And
typically I ask 2 questions, how many people, or maybe 3 questions, budget, and then do you have a theme that you want to, kind of run with? And then they'll give me the answers to those, and then I kind of put a menu together and say, here's what I'm thinking, and then we go back,
Cool.
Sometimes it's perfect. Other times it's okay, that's too much money, or, I always love that one. It's well, I don't really have a budget. It's well, that's too much. Okay, fine. Well, then so what do we work together on? Just let's cut some stuff out, or let's reduce some things,
narrow it down a little bit.
Narrow it down, kind of nail, hone it into exactly what they're thinking, and then we just, I have a small team that helps me when needed for bigger events, and then we just take care of those details.
What's the biggest event you've had so far?
Oh, biggest event's probably been 150 people.
Okay.
So
it's no joke.
No,
Wedding,
it's good.
Business?
It was a business. I was asked to do one coming up really soon for 300 people, a fundraiser. That would have been the biggest by far. But the numbers have come down. And that's also normal, just kind of kind of have an idea, and then it's okay, a week before we need to touch base, because obviously price for food for 300 versus 150 is really different.
Yep. What's your sweet spot, number wise for catering?
I would say, it's
doable,
anywhere between kind of 50 to 150 is pretty doable.
Yep.
Anything above that, kind of once I get above 100, I will pull extra people in to kind of help.
Okay.
Because, you can't spread out food too much. It all has to still be prepped and cooked in a smaller window of time.
Sure.
So, we just, when we need to, we team up and work together, and it works great. So
cool. Yeah. You're taking on new clients for that?
Yes.
Okay. Just so you guys know. Yeah. Any grand openings out there?
Right. Grand openings, or let's say I'm doing grad parties.
Grad parties, yeah.
Showers, just different things like that.
Yeah.
So,
have you had any weddings?
Haven't done any weddings yet.
I feel like that'd have to be a pretty, a more intimate, smaller wedding.
It would. I think people
for
have
our wedding,
very...
we had 250 people.
Yeah. And it's often a plated meal, So unless you're getting married or having a reception at a place where the kitchen can be used, then that becomes a little bit more of a challenge as well.
For sure.
There's a lot of venues out there that do an awesome job at that. So definitely not trying to take over that market space, but it can be done, or
once you
just
expand.
So yeah.
But where do you see your business expanding to, or do you feel like you have a pretty good hold on what you're doing now?
Yes, always, right?
Things,
all the things, that's the honest answer. Definitely still in that growth mode of just, kind of learning what needs are out there, and then, kind of staffing around that. So, obviously, if there's more catering, that requires different hands-on than doing videos in my own kitchen kind of thing, right? It's just different. But I think it all just intertwines, pretty nicely around good food, healthy food. Everybody salads. People know me for my salads. I'm really?
That's just some pretty good salads.
I know. I'm okay. I know, and part of it's just that fresh, scratch-made stuff. It's not necessarily anything special, and I'm very open with sharing recipes and all the things. But I do like to try my best to keep things. If you were eating at my kitchen table, or if I was doing an event for you, it'd look very similar. Yeah,
I think with online, there's unlimited growth, right? You could get more people in your group. People could watch your YouTube videos and get stuff that way, but it's always a little bit harder. It's harder than people think, I think, to get people online, because one, they find you on YouTube, right? They're just seeing your video. They don't really quite know you. It takes a while for them to kind of subscribe, watch your videos, get to know you a little more, get that know, like, and trust you. You know, if it's in person, you meet with them for the initial consult, whatever, and then it's like, well, I can feel pretty comfortable with this person. And that's kind of my goal for doing this too, is like, if somebody wants, you know, an insurance guy or a real estate person versus like finding them on YouTube or finding them like on Facebook or Google, they can go here and get kind of like a more personal feel for that person. So,
I think, you know, my personal thought on, you know, just that pandemic time is people just, we really realized how important it was to work and support people that we know.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, our local people in our local communities-ish, like, you know, just if we don't support them, they go away.
Yep.
And so I think there was some good lessons in that time for everybody of just the more we can kind of help each other out, the better. And you know, small business is fantastic, but there's also a lot of barriers to small business, you know, and it's easier, I think, when you work together with people and collaborate on things.
Absolutely. Thanks for that segue, by the way, collaboration. So you and I met kind of by chance, because the guy we were supposed to meet kind of double booked himself. Right? I was going to go meet Mark. You were going to go meet Mark, but they were at separate times. We ended up showing up at the same time and then connected from there. So I'm kind of glad that happened, because you and I kind of worked on a clean eating challenge that hasn't quite taken off yet, but I think there's a lot of potential there. And, well, I guess let me talk about what the clean eating challenge is first. You were nice enough to put together a 4-week meal plan, and I got one of the menus here, and I'll read it off in a second because it looks pretty good, along with a 4-week workout program that I put together, because you know that working out or just eating right doesn't always get you the results you want. But if you combine the two, you're going to get a lot better results than if you didn't. So in the program, you put together the meal plan, what to eat every day, or at least what to make for the week, grocery list, how to prep it, all that stuff. And some of the meals, this is just week 1, barbecue chicken salad, bowls, wraps, apple slop, Parmesan crusted salmon, side rice potatoes, chicken tortilla soup, sheep pen sausage and veggies with some rice, taco stuffed sweet potatoes, leftover Roundup and refresh, and then a free meal. So, I mean, that's pretty good food, you know, along with a workout program, you know. My big philosophy is eating whole foods as much as possible, you know, and this menu kind of fits that pretty well. But we initially started charging for it. I think we got one person, but lately I've been in the mindset of, if you help more people, as much as people as possible, that's going to kind of come back to you, right? So now I think, you know, people need this, right? So people need to reach out to you. People need to know how to prep food. They need to move their bodies more. So I'm just going to give the program up for free. So if whoever wants it, you can sign up, do it for free for 30 days. You get a workout plan for 30 days. Easy to follow, down to the recipe, the shopping list meal plan. It's not that it's foolproof, but it's a good start to whatever you want to go to, you know. So I'm glad that you
it's designed to be really flexible and but it's written from that place of that parent of just, I want to eat healthier, but I also want to teach my kids, and I don't. Nobody has time to make 4 or 3 different meals for every every dinner. Nobody has time for that. So, you know, it's not perfect. I know, you know, if people really have a desire to go really, really deep dive on, you know, macros and micros and all of that type of stuff like that, this is a good stepping stone, I think, to that. You know, there's obviously some tweaks, but I think it just gives people an idea of, like, if I have a plan that I didn't even have to think of. Like, and a shopping list.
And all the resources you provide.
Let me try this. Let me just try this and see how we like it. Okay, we love that one. We didn't love that one. Like, great. You're never going to love them all.
Right.
But find what works for you and your family, and, you know, start involving your kids in prep. And, you know, I think it makes the process a lot easier to follow for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, when people embark on a fitness journey or trying to reach some goals, it's a lot of giving up things and taking on new things, and I don't want to like stress people out and saying they have to like, eat this certain way, count your macros, get these workouts in. It's like, do the best you can, right? Follow this meal plan. It's pretty simple. There's the resources on YouTube and all that stuff. So there's even QR codes.
I know. Everybody loves those.
I know.
Except for when you're on your phone and you're like, how do I click the QR code? But they've now fixed that. You can actually hold it down on some. So sweet.
Yeah, right. That's nice. Do it in the mirror.
Yeah, I know, right? How does this work?
But yeah, I mean, just making this program, this 30 days, just super simple, low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
It's an easy plan to follow, and probably even might lose some lbs. Just by eating cleaner than what you normally do.
Yeah, and we're coming into that sweet spot in this area of the country of just fresh, awesome food is going to be readily available at a much better
Farmers
cost
markets,
than what it's been in the past. So, I think that's, looking to those resources. There's a lot more, you mentioned earlier, just like growing up, like we didn't, it wasn't something that was taught, like good eating or, nutritional eating, like what that looked like. We know a lot more now. Yeah. We really do. So I think, there's things that are popping up. Just a lot of more small businesses that are looking to fill needs in these areas. There's Spring Lake Farms on, the south kind of west metro that you can do subscription. There's another thing called Market Wagon that I've been trying out that you can get like microgreens and salad greens and like produce, really healthy meats and dairy products, and like they deliver it to your door. So like we do know more, and they are local. Like it's a lot of just collaborating with a lot of local farmers that participate in that. You can go through their app and order, from 4 different farms, and it all shows up at once. So there's a lot of resources out there to help us to eat better, even if you're short on time. I think it's just, kind of knowing where those resources are. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And that's, again, why I'm doing this, because getting you on here, getting other people that may not have, had the advertising or whatever to reach people. I'm hoping this reaches those people in need too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Do you do any sort of so with your business? I think you mentioned you went to some expo or something, or some.
I have a health expo coming up.
Expo? Yep. Okay, so you kind of go there and promote your business.
Yep,
and stuff?
it's the first time I got asked to do it, but it is kind of a twist on this 30-day challenge. It's more of a it's a health expo that a company is putting on, and then they asked me to come back and do a class where they basically would prep lunch meals.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Kind of wrote a slightly different menu. A lot of the recipes on here are used again, but more focused on giving people some better healthy solutions for lunches, more that corporate, you don't have to be eating out every day at pizza.
Right.
Pizza's amazing in the Skyway, but
they bring in Subway sandwiches.
So just kind of seeing what they need, and the interest is on that.
Yep.
I'm excited. I think it'll be awesome, but the expo is next week, and then the class will start in June. And
is it a one-time class, or is it?
They're hoping that
days?
It'll be maybe monthly.
That'd be cool.
So we're going to kind of gauge the interest, gave people kind of a price, but it is, would be kind of completed within that corporate office, and just almost as just a service to people.
That's something people can just take home and use at their house, let alone for taking lunch to work.
And I'm that's the nice thing about some of these plans is you can find what you love, print them out, throw the ones you don't, put the rest together, and you get a lot of things you can just rotate through. And same with that. It's just, when you're working out of, depends on when you're working out of with food. You got to keep following all the food rules, which obviously I do. But it just, for lunches, you don't need 28 different types of proteins. First time it'll just be here's a bunch of options for chicken. Yep. So we'll do a different option, the next month or whatever.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And I'm always just open to kind of what people need and
seeing how you
kind
can
of teaching and helping them learn some better ways to feed themselves and their families. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Anything besides the Health Expo? Anything you got coming up? Any sort of YouTube videos you're excited about sharing?
Not yet.
Any cool new recipes you're testing out?
I am testing out. I was testing out some recipes this week. Actually, even my family, I'm like, we're having this again tomorrow because I made this, and I'm like, this is not okay for my menu. And so we tested it again, and it was better. I'm like, okay, this one I can run with. And so those will, once I kind of get them tested out, then I like to demo them and share them. And but I do love to shift to more outdoor cooking, for the next few months. So, just what are some ways I can cook everything outside? I think sometimes people think that their grill is only for, burgers, brats, chicken, but you really can use it for everything.
Yeah, that's good.
Kind of make an experience out of it. It's a little different feel for people, but so I kind of shift that way, just a lot of seasonal produce, kind of feature that over the next few months. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Where can people find you?
So best way to find me is probably on social. So at grace_filled_table. And that's pretty much my handle on any social media account. Okay. And then I do a monthly newsletter. People through social can find that. So you get a lot of recipes. And
they can subscribe somewhere?
Subscribe to that through like links and bios and stuff like that. Okay. It's pretty... I give away some stuff every month through there just for email subscribers, and it's a nice way to kind of loop everything together. Feature videos, feature recipes, and just a lot of other things. So
they can still get some benefit even though they're not paying you to do things.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Nope, they're just part of the gig.
Part of the crew.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
And I appreciate you for working with me and sharing your story.
So it'll be great. I think obviously featuring your business at the Health Expo would be awesome as well, and just giving people that I
have a booth at a bridal fair this Sunday actually, which I'm going to promote this stuff. So fingers crossed we get some people signed up, but who knows?
Right.
So all right, thanks again.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.